Hi, I'm Joe Wadler, and I haven't done a video in probably about 4 years, and I thought it was time to do another one. I'm going to today show you how to slip with bronze clay, and my dogs have to be in the video for some reason, so just for the time being. These are some of the supplies that you need to start slipping your flowers, your leaves, even branches you can slip as well. So what you first need to do is you need to get a pair of tweezers with a pointy end, okay, because that's going to grab your flowers by the end. You then need to get a spray bottle, and you can put distilled water in or regular tap water. I use both, and I don't really find much of a difference between either one. This is a little shot glass, plastic, that you're going to make your slip in, and you need a paintbrush as well. I like to use paintbrushes that are hair and not synthetic. Then you also need your bronze clay. Now, the bronze clay that I use is by Metal Adventures, and I just been using this forever, and I really like this clay. I don't get a kickback or anything. I'm just telling you what I like to use. Of course, there are other products on the market, and you can probably use those as well. So what you want to do is open up your package. You'll see it comes in foil. You're going to open it, and then inside you're going to have a plastic package with your clay in it. Don't confuse it for chocolate, and don't put it in your refrigerator in an area where someone's going to grab it, because it does look like chocolate, and that's the best way to keep it, is in the refrigerator. So you're going to open up your package. Now, you'll see all this residue on the outside. You really need to knead that into the clay if you're going to be making bronze clay jewelry or findings. But I'm just going to grab a little piece right now, just from the center, and I'm going to take it in my hand, and I'm going to drop it into my shot glass. Okay, I don't have any oil on my hands, my fingers, so that's why it's sticking, but I'm not really concerned with that right now. So I have my little pea-size amount of clay. Now, one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to make too much in advance, because it can turn on you. So I'm going to take my water bottle, squirt bottle, and I'm going to add a few little squirts to it. Okay? I'm then going to take my paintbrush, and I'm going to start mashing it. And you'll see all of a sudden it'll start getting almost like a tempera paint. Okay? We're quite not there yet. You're going to have to probably work on it a little bit longer. You can twist your paintbrush into it. Okay? But because of people's attention span, I'm going to bring over the one that I've already done. Okay? So this was basically made probably about, I don't know, 15-20 minutes ago. Now, occasionally I do go back and mix it up, because it does start to separate a little bit, but that's a normal thing. So I'm going to put that aside. So after you make your slip, you want to make sure that you have your water bottle next to it, because sometimes you do have to add a little more water. And you can also use your little hot plate here, your coffee warmer. Now what I do with the coffee warmer is, if I am using dried flowers, like these, okay, these are hydrangeas, all right, I will put them on the coffee warmer. But if they're fresh flowers, I will not do that, because they will curl up on you, and all the moisture in it will just disappear, and you'll have a crumple of a flower, which doesn't work. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to prepare your surface. You might want to get a page protector. If not, I just like to clear away my area. So once you get your page protector or your surface area that you want to work on, you're just going to pick up one of your flowers. Now, the page protector I sometimes work on, but what I like to do is I like to pile up my work on it once I'm done. So the tweezers come in handy now, because they can hold the stem of the flower. So you're going to hold the stem, you're going to take your slip, you're going to give it a good little turn, or stir I should say, because it could be separating. You also want to have it the consistency of tempera paint. You don't want to have it too watery because if you do, it'll slide right off. So here's my first coat. I do about 8 of them. So I'm going to start in the center of the flower and just go outwards. And then I'm going to go to the other petals. Okay, and I'm also going to make sure the center has some slip. Sometimes you'll fill in the holes where the petals are. You can always open those up again before it goes to drying, but I like to leave them because it gives it some interest, like a real flower. So if you can see, that's the first layer. It looks a little bit like there's a lot on there, but honestly, there's really not as much as you think because there's a lot of water and the water will evaporate. I'm then going to take it, put it on my page protector, and let it dry. I'm going to repeat that again until I have about 8 coats. Here are some hydrangeas that I slipped about 8 times. They're nice and dry. Now, you'll feel a little bit of weight to them, and that's a good indication that they're ready. They're ready to be fired. The thing about the slipping is that you have to be careful in between layers. Sometimes you can peel off what you already put on, so you have to be a little gingerly with that. And sometimes you'll get bubbles. The bubbles will settle, and if they don't, you're just going to want to go back and work it again. The other nice thing about the slip is these were a different type of hydrangea plant, and these were fired, but they weren't heavy enough. So I lost a lot of them in the firing. So this one I didn't tumble and polish, but this one I did. So you can see I went back and I'm going to add more slip and refire them. So you can do that. Once they're ready to be fired and they have their weight to them and you feel that you put enough of the slip on, what you're going to do is you're going to drop them, not drop them, but you're going to place them inside your ceramic vessel or what other firing vessel you use. Okay? Going to take them and you're going to lay them out. You don't want to put too many in, and you want to have a little bit of space around them. And this is going to be the point where I'm putting it into the kiln, so I'm putting everything towards that part of my vessel. I'm then going to take my activated charcoal and I'm going to pour it in. Try to stay away or wear a mask while you're doing this because it's not good to breathe in. Okay, once it's covered, I take it and I give it a good shake. Then I can actually put another layer on and do the same process again. Now the directions on the package tell you different types of ramp speed. The 500 ramp speed is what I use because most of my pieces are 3 millimeters or less. There's a 250 ramp speed, that's for pieces that are thicker. But I find that I basically use the 500 ramp speed because, or the degrees, because I don't get a lot of cracking, but everybody's projects are going to be different. So you really need to experiment. And if your piece doesn't work out well, you know how to do it again, so you'll work out better the second time. But you should always test your own kiln for times. So I'm set for 500. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to place this inside. So I'm now going to close this, and I'm going to set the rest of my kiln. So I'm on speed 2 for me is 500, and I set it for 1550. You can go as high as 1550 or you can go lower as 1500. Again, my kiln seems to work better at this temperature. And then all I'm going to do is set it, hold for 2 hours, and start. Once it's completed, your kiln will probably beep. You do not want to take your vessel out at that point. It'll be too hot. You're going to have to wait for it to cool down. You can keep the door a little bit open to cool it a little faster, but you do not want to go anywhere near the kiln. You'll see if you open the door, it'll be glowing red. Now that they've cooled down and I took them out of the kiln, I'm then going to take this little spatula, but it has little slots in it, and I'm going to go fishing. This is the fun part. To make them even shinier, I will brush them with a brass brush, and I will tumble them. These were successful. I'm going to show you some examples of ones that aren't. These were some ones that were unsuccessful, and I think what happened was the slip that I used was very old, and they were also very thin, and it also could have been my charcoal. So that's 3 things, but I think it was because the slip was old. So it's really important to mix a new batch of slip every time you're going to do any kind of work with flowers or leaves. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And Bella and Luna, say thank you too.